Greetings, everyone, and welcome to another podcast edition of Create Yourself Imagery, Intimacy, Innovation, where people from all walks of life and various backgrounds come to share their transformative personal and professional stories of confidence, clarity, empowerment, restoration, education, and so much more. They are here to share their helpful tools, resources, and affirming guidance. I'm Joyce Kyles, your global speaker, author, trainer, and coach. And if you're ready to transition, transform, and thrive, this is indeed the podcast for you. Today's guest, before I jump into this, let me just acknowledge our first time listeners. If you are a first time listener, welcome to the show. If you are someone who is returning, thank you so much for being here. And as I always say, please tell a friend to tell two more friends to come and join us because this is the area for transformation, for transitioning, and for thriving here today and in the future. So, without further ado, if you've been listening to me before, you know that I am really excited about my guests. They are always here strategically, intentionally. I love the people that I have on the show each and every week. So this week is no exception. I had the opportunity to meet this beautiful young lady. And when I say she is beautiful inside and out, I mean just absolutely a beautiful, radiant spirit. I had an opportunity to meet her a few months ago at a Go Global conference. And the things that she shared in that short time that we were together, I just knew that I wanted us to stay connected. I wanted her to be a part of this show because I feel that she truly exemplifies what it means to thrive, to transition, to transform, and to help others to do it in business and in life. So you're in for a treat today. My guest today is none other than Dr. Tope Mitchell. We call her Dr. Tope around here. So welcome, Dr. Tope, to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad to be here. I mean, any opportunity to talk to you is going to brighten my day. So thank you so much for inviting me onto the show.
Thank you so very much. So we're just going to jump right on in. Please tell our listening audience a bit about who you are and how you got started on this journey that we call creating yourself.
Hmm. Well, I'm, as you mentioned, Dr. Tope Mitchell. My background is a PhD in sociology, as well as a master's in sociology and a double bachelor's in sociology and American ethnic studies, really focusing on on research methodology and qualitative and quantitative methods. So it's interesting that, as of today, I am a tech founder, right? Creating this social impact technology. I am a mother of two wonderful children, a 10-year-old girl, Sophia, and a 6-year-old boy, Gerald Lee Mitchell III. And my husband is Gerald Mitchell Jr., Dr. Gerald Lee Mitchell. Yes, we met in graduate school. So that's me in a nutshell in terms of my identity is in the venture I've created and my children and my husband. But I'm also, in essence, a storyteller researcher. I consider myself a change maker. And I am very much so a lover of God's children. I really care about society. I really love people. And that's something that's very important to me, that what I do in life and how I raise my children is that they focus on uplift and love and empathy. And you did have another question as well, how I got to where I
Yes,
am.
yes, please tell us. So before you start with that though, I love the fact that you wear so many hats and you know, when we as women talk about what it means to, wear the hats, all the juggling and
Mhm.
finding what I call work-life harmony. One of the things
Mm.
that I really appreciate about you that because I've done some research on you, and in addition to us talking, but one of the things that I really appreciate about the way that you do things is that you shared a lot about your family
Mm.
and being a tech founder, because I know that is tedious work and daunting work, but I know for you it's also very rewarding. So I love hearing stories around women in tech.
Mhm.
And, it's we're both women of color.
Yes.
And, that for me just even makes me smile that much more to see how we're shining in the tech space and STEM as a
Mhm.
whole. And so
Mhm.
I just wanted to lift that up because you shared so many pieces, but you also talked about your love of God and people.
Mhm.
And I always share on this show how it's so important to be rooted and grounded in
Mhm.
the space that of spirituality, wherever and however that shows up for you. But I'm sure
Agreed.
that's a rooting part of, foundational part of who you are and whose you are and how you show up. So
Yes,
I
ma'am.
just wanted to lift that up. So as
Ah,
we
thank
move
you.
into the other part of that question is based on all of that, how did you start? What was your create yourself journey
Mhm.
um, to get in a tech space and just, you're a doctor and all the rest. So just tell us your story.
Well, I believe my entrepreneurial journey started very early because I am at least, to my knowledge, fourth generation entrepreneur on both sides of my family, with my father in Nigeria and my grandfather and them having, doing shipping, my great grandmother having, I believe, a laundromat and store, my grandmother being a psychiatric nurse, my mother having a print shop. And so my whole life, I saw people working and giving back, seeing problems and creating them. I worked with my grandmother with psychiatric patients as a small child. So at a very young age, I learned the importance of helping those in need and of empathy and of care and how you can heal people through just love and care. I mean, obviously my grandmother is, educated and had all these tools, but me as a little kid would just help sitting eating peanut butter and talking to them, and she saw that level of connection. So I learned that very early. Um, in terms of being a tech founder, I never expected to be a tech founder. It wasn't something that I aspired to do, to be honest. I first I wanted to be a child psychologist, then I wanted to be a clothes designer. And I started taking these sociology and anthropology classes and went, wow, this is what Martin Luther King Jr. studied, Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King. And he's like top idol, like Harriet Tubman, Martin Luther King Jr., Oprah, Michelle Obama, right? Like those are the people. Zora Neale Hurston, I can go on and on, W.B. Du Bois. And so, so many of them studied the social sciences. They studied group dynamics. They studied how people work. And so when I transitioned from institutional research and helping students to make it through college pathways to more corporate research and understanding how messages affect our psyche, how the sort of images that we see every day affect our sense of value and affect the sense of value that others hold for us. So the more I delved into that and being a part of the application of it, being in the rooms with people, making these ads, making these products, when I became a mother, it just became paramount to me to figure out a way to shield my daughter from all of this. Because at the time, I only had a daughter, and it's like, she is perfectly made. And she comes out knowing that our children come out knowing that they are beautiful, looking in the mirror with pure love of themselves, right? And it's us as humans that break that down in each other so that we can have a level of control and dominance. And so I, as a mother, started giving my daughter different dolls. She had dolls of every color. She saw different hair textures. We watched films where there were little black girls, and we were in these. We would get books sent to us, and I'm lamenting that I forgot the name of this book mailing club that they had. And so maybe I'll find it later and we can put it in the link. But they would mail books and toys and cards that were about Black history and about being like little Black girls, and they do it by age. So very intentional. So then as I'm, working through this, I always tell the story of my daughter washing her hands in the bathroom. And I, was a little like drifting off thinking about other things. And I'm looking and she's still washing her hands, but she's looking in the mirror at herself with pure love and pure curiosity and joy. And it caught in my heart that I need to figure out how to maintain that in her, and I always say, when I tell this story, like I have good self-esteem, but to be honest, I look in the mirror in the morning and I'm like, okay, let's get some moisture. Let's do, let's fix this, right? But she just looks at herself with so much love. And so that's where, Reflekt Me came about as this call to action that really it's about reflecting customers, myself working as a business strategist, working as, consumer insights specialist. I knew that these companies were at a point, they were at this crossroads where they could either choose to speak to and reflect their audiences and build community, or they could choose to exclude. They could choose to be unrepresentative and they could lose market share and they could die as a company and they could be canceled, right? And they could be all these things. So it was a beautiful time for me to create something for that. And so that's where Reflekt Me was born, out of this, love of my child, out of this love of people, and through this very specific moment, thinking about a way to heal all of us from a lot of the negative experiences that we have with media, because we shop every day. We really do. We didn't used to, now there's 52 seasons. I remember we would go shopping. Now we didn't have a lot, but we would go clothes shopping once a year and for an occasion, if the church dress didn't fit or the funeral dress, so but people shop all day long, and so they're constantly seeing these images. So I just wanted to combat that, and so having that foundation of entrepreneurship, having the support of my family. Several family members work in technology. My cousin Gregory Blackwell, my cousin Jermaine Clark, they both work in technology. So they really, encouraged me there. And the real catalyst was Black Women Talk Tech in New York. This a group of women. It was started by three Black women. They are amazing and they really embraced me. I was able to pitch and I won $30,000. And I used, every dime of that.
Wow. Wow, wow,
Yes,
wow.
yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. That was the first. And what's crazy, the first installments of capital in any form or support in any form were from Black women. That $30,000 from Black Women Talk Tech. It was sponsored by another company, but they were the conduit and catalyst for me to be able to do that. And then Arlen Hamilton through Backstage Capital as a Black woman investor, investing that first check into our company.
Wow. All you shared so much already. We could really just close out right here. I do have a couple of other questions that I want to ensure that I get in, but your story is absolutely amazing, inspiring, and doable.
It is.
And, I think that oftentimes we get in our own way. So I love
Mm,
that you have spent so much time thinking
mm,
about this from a mindset
mhm.
perspective
Yes.
and what a shift in that mindset needs to look like, really
Yes.
studying, and some of the people that you lifted up are some of my heroes as well. And so each one of them absolutely show us what's possible. I love
Yes.
what you do with your children, how you show up
Mm,
for them, and how they internalize this beauty and essence, and how they
mm,
see themselves, and how you were able to take that and
mhm,
create something even more beautiful and powerful in workspaces that I have not heard of in this
mm.
way. So I think that makes what you're doing very innovative. So talk with our audiences about, specifics in terms of ways that people can look at gaining capital and having the
Mm.
courage to go forth and do this work.
Yes. That is a wonderful question. And shameless plug, if you are lucky enough to be in Georgia, to be in Atlanta, the Invest in Atlanta program is monumental. It is if not the only municipally funded program for women, and to help them as entrepreneurs, help them in technology and tech-enabled companies. And it is really phenomenal to have a city invest. in women entrepreneurs the way that it does. Um, as a whole, nationally, and I'll stick to nationally, but there are global options as well. The founder of Enrichly is a colleague and wonderful person and friend, and she has had great success in Dubai, right? And so looking at, yes, like other countries and what their needs are, um, and how you can provide services to them internationally is important too, but I'll stick nationally. So there are larger organizations such as Black Women Talk Tech. I would say the path that I needed to take, being a non-technical founder, was to find my community first, to learn from my community first, to learn from women-run organizations, Black women-run organizations, Black organizations. So Denise Quashie, previously at AWS, she's now at Zendesk, ran a program called the AWS Black Impact Accelerator. And so being a part of those programs, being a part of Goody Nation, again here in Atlanta, but it has expanded to have several offices. It's now, more of a sort of Southeast national program. Goody Nation is for underrepresented founders. And they provide group counseling. They provide credits, resources to programs that are for founders. Um, James Kabbalah, he's was in Techstars with me. He's also a Black founder. He just wrote a book about burnout. So I would say the resources are not only just the books. Read the books that these founders are writing about their experiences so that you don't feel alone. Because I will tell you, I am, as you mentioned, I have a PhD. I've had a very successful career. I've been an associate head, I've been a director, I've been all these different things. And being in the startup world will break you down. I don't know anyone who hasn't been broken down by this process. They've been presidents. I would beg to say princes and chiefs have been broken down by this process because not every entity can fund you. They just cannot. You don't fit into everyone's thesis, or you have to provide some level of traction and be humbled by the fact that you are asking people to buy your idea. If even if it's whether it's revenue or whether it's an investor, you have to pitch this idea in a way that makes people believe it enough to put their dollar on it. And not everyone is going to say yes, even if you have the very, very best idea, right? We've heard the stories. Harry Potter, Spanx, all these people who are international, billionaires were told no, told that they had a terrible idea, told that they were dumb, right? Like told very, very harsh things. And so just kind of reiterating that in some, to look at books, to read stories, to look at case studies, to find your community, whichever your identity is, that understands what you're going through personally to help you grow and before you jump into the larger kind of organizations. Because I'm a part of those too. We're a part of Techstars, we're a part of family houses. XRC Ventures is wonderful in New York. Plug and Play Ventures has also supported us. Again, AWS, right? Google has supported us. We've gotten support from these huge organizations. But I will say in the beginning, it was wonderful to be in our community. And even those groups are supported by some of these larger organizations. So it's kind of a twofer where you have a bit of a buffer, of your community who can help you to help to prepare you for what you will experience moving forward.
Oh, absolutely fantastic information, tools, resources. I just love the fact that you lifted up community because I think that that is so key. And I will say very personally and candidly that for me, I recently joined a organization. So I'll just say it, it was
Yeah.
National Speakers Association,
Oh,
the
yes.
Georgia chapter.
Yes.
And when I tell you this has been one of the best experiences, I've only been
Okay.
connected to them for a few months. I think I've actually joined in January. So it's just been a few months for me. But I
Mhm.
was just sharing this with someone yesterday, the importance of community, the things
Yes.
that come out of community, finding the right community.
Yes.
and because I have, and I'm sure you have too, in this journey, you've gone to places and spaces and thought, this is the community, this is the space, these are the people for me, and have had your heart broken, broken. And so for me, it has been some trial and errors. I'm sure it's been for you, but
Mhm.
when you find your tribe, when you
Yes.
find your community,
Yes.
the things that come from it is just, it's
Hmm.
phenomenal. So if you
Yeah.
are in the Georgia area, you said shameless plug, so I'm shameless plug as well,
Yes.
that we're just going to big up and shout out Georgia and
Yes.
Atlanta and
Yes.
surrounding areas specifically because it is proving time and time again that the tools, the resources are here and available. So I love that you shared so many people, so many tools, so many resources that people can use. I thank you so much for your giving spirit, and not hoarding the information, because we do encounter people that want to just keep it all to themselves. And you are a giver, you are a sharer. You gave, oh my goodness, so many great gems. So thank you so much for that. Thank you. As we wrap up, I do want to ask you the best ways to connect with you. So, of course, all the information, if you've clicked on the podcast, then that means you're able to see who she is and her bio and how to connect. But I always love to ask my guests to share the best ways to connect with you because you have so much information and what you're doing with Reflekt Me can be a tremendous help to businesses, organizations around the globe. So I want to get that out to people. So tell us how we get to know you.
Hey, well, the best way is to follow me on LinkedIn. That's Tope, Tope, Mitchell, PhD, and then it will be connected to Reflekt Me and be located in Atlanta. It's better to follow me than to try to connect because I have to be very cognizant of the connections that I make. But you can always follow. And so I keep a lot of the events. I recently spoke at the Elevate Her conference put on for women in AI. And so I'll always post those things and free tickets and things of that nature. Because as you said, I really do love to pour back into my community because, my whole life people have poured into me and it just feels natural to keep that flow going, as it were. And so follow me on LinkedIn and I will share all the resources. I will share things happening, free trainings with Google, occurrences with the AI Collective. A lot of it will be in Georgia, but a lot of those groups, such as the AI Collective, are national. And so you can collaborate with your own chapters there. So following me on LinkedIn is what I would suggest to everyone. It's the best way to see what's going on, and I can share resources with you in mass. And also visit our website, www.reflectme.com. We're also on Instagram. We do not post as much on Instagram currently. So I would say LinkedIn is really the best way to go, but please follow us on Instagram as well. We like to share our wins there and uplift others as well. And that's just reflect with a K, REFLEKT _ me. Thank you. Oh, we're also on Facebook as well.
Wonderful, awesome gems. You gave us everything. I appreciate you so very much. As we get ready to close out, do you have any last words, any words of encouragement, anything that you would want to share with the audience that you would want them to know?
Yes, I would say that it's very, very important to realize that challenges that we come across personally or professionally, they really are opportunities for us to learn and grow. And when I mean learn, not just in the kind of just lessons sort of mindset, but learn how to have more empathy and love for ourselves when we're not at our best. Because I think that we get into these moments where we we have a challenge or we're not perfect. And I've learned to mother myself and to take those moments to say, this is an opportunity for me to have empathy and kindness and joy and learn how to heal myself through this moment rather than to beat myself up or to get scared and never do it again. And so I want to strengthen that muscle. And I would encourage us all to really be intentional and take that time to strengthen that muscle of self-love and of self-care in that deep way, because that's why we go through this, is so that we can strengthen that muscle and we can share what we've learned with others, so that when they're going through it, we can help them to heal and get stronger and love themselves more. So just, there's all the successes, and those are beautiful, but there's also beauty in healing and beauty in taking that time with yourself.
Wow. Love that. Thank you so much. Um, with that, we'll just go ahead and close out. So thank you so much, Dr. Tope, for showing up for us and sharing and pouring into us personally and professionally. What a joy it has been to interview you. Thank you.
Thank you. As I said, the rest of my day is going to be glorious because I talked to you today. So thank you.
Oh, look, and I did not pay her to say that, but I appreciate you so very much. It was my joy to have you here.
Thank you.
So, with that, listening audience, I also want to thank you because without you, I could not do what I do. So, as I always say, until next time, go and create the life that you desire and deserve. And remember that you can do so at any age. Let's continue to transition, transform, and thrive together.